are connected to form a two-stage amplifier, right? So you have connected two RC coupled amplifier. One output of one amplifier is given as an input to the next amplifier. If the lower and upper cutoff frequencies of individual amplifier respectively are 100 Hertz and 20 kilohertz. Okay, so the first stage frequencies or cutoff frequency is 100 Hertz and the second stage cutoff frequency is 20 kilohertz. What these frequencies are for the two-stage amplifier? They're asking what will be the total frequencies when we coupled, right? When we cascade two amplifier, what will be the two amplifier stages? Whether it is going to be, the frequency is going to be increase or decrease, or it is going to be moderate. It is given as a 100 kilohertz and 20 kilohertz. Okay, right. So now we will see that. Now actually for multi-stage amplifier actually it consists of n identical amplifying stages. So the lower cutoff frequency, I think we all know this equation, right? The lower cutoff frequency is f1 over square root of 2 power 1 over n minus 1. This small n represent number of stages. Okay, right. So f1 is actually lower cutoff frequency. Similarly, for higher cutoff frequencies, right, upper cutoff frequency, higher or upper cutoff frequency, f2 is actually f1, that is equal to f2 into root of 2 to the power 1 over n minus 1, where f2 is the upper cutoff individual stages, right? Now, so what we have to do is, now we know f1, what they had given it as 100 Hertz, and f2 they had given it as 20 kilohertz. Now we will substitute and we will find. Okay, right? Now, so f1 is actually 100 Hertz and 2 to the power of, I told you that small n represent number of stages, minus 1. So which will give you 155.5 Hertz only for the total lower cutoff frequency for two stages, right? Similarly, upper cutoff for two stage amplifier is, so f2 is actually, it is a 20 kilohertz, right? And I have that is simplified this as root of 2 power 1 over 2 minus 1 as 0.643, right? So this is actually 12.8 kilohertz, right? So the bandwidth get actually reduced in a multi-stage amplifier. Clear? Right? When we cascade more number of stages, you might have seen in the laboratory while doing the experiment, we used to plot the graph. So if I keep on cascading more number of stages, the bandwidth is going to be reduced. Okay? Bandwidth reduced and gain will be increased. I think you might have seen in the graph while plotting the graph, right? Gain is increased and bandwidth will get reduced. Right? So actually we had actually 20 plus 20.1 kilohertz, right? That is the total frequencies. First one is 100 Hertz, second one is 20 kilohertz. So we got around 20.1 kilohertz. So when we cascade, we got only 12.8 kilohertz. Okay. See, actually, they have asked what is the range, right? Range value is, so 8.56 kilohertz, 12.8 kilohertz, 13.56 kilohertz, and 22.56. So the answer I got it as a 12.8 kilohertz. In some competitive exams, they will ask simply like that, whether the bandwidth will increase, decreases, or it is moderate, or none of the above, like that they will ask. So you all need to remember is, when we cascade amplifier for multi-stage amplifier, when we cascade more number of stages, right, the gain will increase and bandwidth will decrease. Okay, here they have asked the range, that is what actually we simplified this. In case if they don't ask and they will ask only the reason, the statement, like kind of a thing, like bandwidth will reduce or bandwidth will increase, like that. So in that case, now you need to remember is, when we cascade more number of amplifier stages, right, bandwidth will decrease and gain will increase. Okay, right. So now I will move on to the next question. So the next question is based on FET. Excuse me. The FET in the circuit has RDS equal to 50 kilo ohms, and GM, the transconductance, is actually 5 millisiemens, right? Determine the value of voltage gain. They are asking to find out the voltage gain. Simple FET circuit it is. They are asking you to determine the voltage gain. So what is the voltage gain? Voltage gain is output voltage over input voltage, right? So the voltage gain is, they had given it as 58.28, 50.89, 76.5 to 70.22. Okay, now we will see this. RDS is given it as actually, so drain to source actually resistance, it is given it as 50 into 10 power 3 ohms, and GM is 5 into 10 power minus 3 millisiemens. Okay, right. So here you need to find out actually this RL and RD are in parallel. Okay, this is actually RL and RD. We are going to find out output only here. We are going to find out output here. So now your RL and RD, first you need to find out the parallel combination of this. So after finding that, we will get a 15.2 kilo ohms, right? And actually what is the gain? Gain is GM-RDS into RL over RDS plus RL. Okay, this equation, while doing in electronic circuits one, while solving, we used to get the gain equation as GM RDS RL1 RDS plus RL. Okay, right? So which is actually, we will get 58.28. RDS, they had given it as a 50 into 10 power 3 ohms, and RL actually we got it as a 15.2 kilo ohms. So the option is A. This is asked in actually ISRO question. This is from ISRO question paper. So it is actually option A. See, all the thing is you need to remember only the voltage gain equation. GM they had given, RDS they had given, and all the values they had given. So you need to substitute this RL1, RDS plus RL1. That's it. Right. So the option is, it is actually A, 58.28. Clear? Right. Now we'll go to the next question. Right. Now, this is actually based on circuit applications of BJT asked in BARC 2018. Determine the effect on the input impedance. First read the question properly. Determine the effect on the input impedance if the capacitor CE is removed from the given network. Okay. So they are not asking any calculation, but for simplification, actually here I solved the circuit. Okay. Now we will see the answer actually given it as a slight increase, almost doubled, significant increase, none of the above. So the question is, if we remove CE from the amplifier, what will be the impedance? Whether it is slight increase, almost doubled, significant increase, none of the above. See, from the statement itself, see, they had given increase phase only, slight increase, double, significant increase, none of the above. Okay, right? So anyway, impedance is going to be increase. But how to find this? I made a simple calculation. See, I solved this for our convenience, right? And so that we can easily remember, right? If I solve this, we can easily remember, right? Now first let me start with actually what happened if I connect this CE, right? So this capacitor, emitter capacitor, which we connect across the emitter resistor, what will happen, right? When we connect across this across the resistor of this capacitor, what will happen? Your capacitor actually blocks and blocks DC and bypass AC. Capacitor will block DC and bypass AC. Clear? Right. So what will happen when it bypasses AC, right? It allow the signal to pass through it, right? When the emitter capacitor allow the signal to pass through it, obviously it will become a short circuit. So when it is short circuit, right, there is no significance in this resistance. Is it clear? Current will flow through only the short circuit. So whatever you have in the opposite, so there is no value for it, right? So when your capacitor, it blocks DC and bypass AC, right? That is the function of a capacitor, right? So when it bypasses AC, it will become a short circuit. When this is short circuit, now this resistance will be completely zero, right? Now you assume here a short circuited one here. Now there is no emitter resistor here. I have shown this in the next. See, actually, now here, see, the input impedance is given as with the capacitor CE. Okay, the resistance RE is bypassed, as I told you. Okay, so and it is replaced by a short circuit. Okay, now the circuit becomes common emitter fixed bias. Now you understand? See, so when I actually consider CE, when I consider CE, right, now it bypass AC signal. When it bypasses, it will become a short circuit. So RE is bypassed. So now what is happening? There is no RE. I have a short circuit here. Okay. So it means what? Here you have a capacitor, right? So I have a short circuit. Now it is a common emitter fixed bias configuration, right? So I have drawn the small signal equivalent model also for convenience, right? So RB, right, this is actually your small signal model. This is actually RE model. I have taken the RE model because the calculation will be very easy and simple in RE model. Okay, so beta times of RE, beta times of IB, and this is R naught, and we have a RB which is in parallel, right? So this will become a fixed bias configuration. Now, so what is happening to the input impedance now? For this circuit, what is happening to the input impedance? Now your ZA equal to RB parallel to beta times of RE. Now your input impedance I have marked here. ZA equal to RB is parallel to beta times of RE. Clear? So we resolve this. We will get, so ZA equal to RB parallel to beta times of RE. Okay. So the beta value here, it is actually 100. Okay. I told you in the previous class itself, in case if they don't give beta value, you can straight away you can take 100. Okay, if they don't give beta value, you can straight away you can take 100, right? So 100 into 8, 50 to 100, you can take any range actually, or for easy calculation we can take 100, right? So we will get a 0.85 kilo ohms. Okay, now we will see that is, this is actually with the capacitor, right? ZA equal to 0.85, right? Now what is the question? When CE is removed, right, when CE is removed, what will be the input impedance? Whether it is it will increase or doubled or significant increase. Okay, but in all the options they had given only increasing phase only, right? So that is what, now this is actually with capacitor. So with capacitor I have that is got the value as a 0.85 kilo ohms. Now when CE is removed, what will happen when CE is removed? Look at the circuit. When CE is removed, I have only the emitter resistor here, right? So now this actually here, now again I am drawing the RE model circuit. In this RE model circuit I am including RE. Okay, I am including RE because here no capacitor. I am including RE and I am including RB also. Now what is your input impedance? Now your input impedance is beta times of RE. This is 1 plus beta times of capital RE, right? Beta times of RE, 1 plus beta times of capital RE. Clear? It is clear for you? This actually, when we solve this, it's a big equation. When we solve this, right, we will get this 1 plus beta times of RE, right? So now what is happening? What is your total impedance? Beta times of RE plus 101 into your RE value. So 152.35 kilo ohms. Okay, now you just guess the answer. What will be your input impedance become? See, with CE actually 0.85. When I removed CE, whether it is a small increase or it will get doubled or it is a significant increase, you just 0.85 into 0.85, you put it and see, it is not a double one, so it is a significant increasing. Okay, see, actually why I am that is did all the calculation, this is for our understanding. Okay, so when we have the impedance as actually with capacitor it is 0.85. Okay, so without capacitor actually it is going to be a significant increase, right? So it is a significant increase. So here the input impedance of the network, so the total input impedance is RB parallel to ZB. So RB parallel to ZB is how much you'll get? 111.8 kilo ohms. Hence, there is a significant increase in the input impedance. So if the capacitor CE is removed, so option C. Okay, the capacitor CE is removed. So option is actually C. Clear? It is clear for you? Right. Now we will go to the next. And we will take a question based on an op-amp and voltage reference circuit. See, voltage reference circuits are nothing but using a transistor and a Zener diode. It is a kind of a voltage regulator circuit. Now, we'll see what is the question they have asked. In the circuit shown below, what is the output voltage V out if a transistor Q and an ideal op-amp are used? Okay, in the circuit shown below, what is the output voltage V out if a silicon transistor Q and an ideal op amp are used? Okay, now the answer is actually they are asking the output voltage. Answer is 15 volt minus 0.7 volt plus 0.7 volt minus 15 volt. What will be the output? Right? See, actually, I simplified this circuit also, but before going to the simplification, always I used to tell you need to completely observe the circuit and you need to guess the answer. Then only you have to go for a calculation. Clear? Right? Then only our guess and our calculation, if almost equal, then we can choose the answer. Okay. Now let me start with my guess here. Actually, here this is non-inverting terminal is grounded. Okay, so here the value is how much? Here it is a zero voltage, right? So this is called actually virtual ground, right? This is virtual ground, right? Now, so when here it is 0 volt, what will be the value at this point? This is also zero voltage. Okay, now where it is going? It is connected to the collector, right? It is connected to the collector. So the collector VC value is actually here it is 0 only, right? So collector is 0, right? Next, you look at the base is grounded. So VB also 0. What is your output? VE only we need to find out. Okay, right. So in general, actually, how will you find out the output voltage here? Output voltage is actually VCE, right? Either VCE is what? VC minus VE. VC minus VE. But what is your VC? It is 0. Now it is VE value is how much? We don't know, right? So here, now let me take this value VBE, right? What is your VBE always? It is 0.7, right? So VBE, I can write it as a VB minus VE. What is VB value? VB value is 0. Okay, now VB value is 0 means what is your VE value? It is minus 0.7, correct? Do you understand the question? See, please. Actually, in the circuit shown below, what is the output voltage if a silicon transistor Q and an ideal op amp are used? This is, they have said ideal op amp. Okay. Remember, it is an ideal op amp, right? So, in the ideal op amp, what is the current actually? It offers an infinite impedance. When it offers an infinite impedance, obviously current is 0, right? Now, so let me start with the guess. Actually, here it is a non-inverting terminal is grounded. So here it is 0 voltage. So what about here? This is also, it is virtual ground, which is actually 0 volt. Now it is connected to the collector. So VC equal to 0. When VC equal to 0, actually output is actually VE only. We need to find out. So I can find out the value of output actually VCE or VC minus VE equal to 0. So we don't know what is exactly VE value, but we can find from this VBE. What is VBE? VB minus VE. VB minus VE equal to 0.7. Right? So VB is 0, VE is minus 0.7. This is my guess. Okay. So now let me go to the calculation. Okay. So for the given ideal op amp, negative terminal will also be grounded at 0 voltage as I told you. And so the collector terminal of the BJT will be at 0 voltage. Okay, that is VC equal to 0. So VC equal to 0. Right. So the current in 1 kilo ohm resistor, now this, I had given a 5 volt here, 1 kilo ohm resistor. So it is around 5 milliamps. The current will flow completely through the BJT, since no current will flow into the ideal op amp. Correct? Because as I told you, input resistance of ideal that is ideal op amp offers infinite impedance always. Okay, so the no current will flow through the op amp, right? So for BJT actually will have, I told you VC equal to 0 and VB is grounded, which is 0, IC equal to 5 milliamps. Okay, right? Now the base collector junction is what? Actually base and collector junction is reverse biased. Do you understand now? Base and collector junction is reverse biased because see here, actually here this is a negative terminal. This is NPN transistor. Now this is base is grounded, right? So base is grounded, so it is reverse biased. Okay, right. Now, so therefore the collector current IC can have a value only if base emitter is forward biased, right? But what we need to find out, we need to find out output. Where output is connected? It is connected to VE, that is it is connected to emitter, right? So VB equal to zero point 0.7 volt. VB minus VE, which is equal to zero point 0.7. So what is your VB? It is grounded 0 minus V is what? V out, which is equal to zero point 0.7. So V out equal to minus 0.7 volt. Okay. So hence the option B is correct. Understand? So this is the way always you need to find out and you need to guess it. Okay. And you need to guess this. So our guess and calculation both have a correct, right? Next, we'll go to the next problem. A similar kind of problem we will see. For the voltage regulator circuit shown, the input voltage Vin is, input voltage given Vin is 20 plus or minus 20 percentage, and the regulated output voltage V out is 10 volt. Output is 10 volt. Assume the op amp to be ideal. Op amp is ideal. Okay, for a load resistance RL actually drawing 20 milliamps, what will be the maximum power dissipation in Q1? They are asking what will be the maximum power dissipation, right? It is given it as a 2.2, 3.8, 2.8, 4.2, and you need to see the op amp to be an ideal one. Okay, right. Now what they are asking, the regulator is actually input voltage is 20 volt plus or minus 20 percentage. So I will get input voltage around 20 plus or minus means I'll take plus 20 percentage. So we will get around 24. Input voltage is 24. Okay, right. Now we'll go to the calculation. Now the power dissipation in the transistor Q1 is P is equal to what? V into I, right? So VCE into IC maximum. Okay, so this VCE into IC maximum. They had given R2 value as what? 10K. Okay, and we know that IE is equal to IB plus IC. Since IB value is very less, I can take it as IE is approximately equal to IC. Okay, IE is approximately IE equal to approximately equal to IC. Okay, right. Now here this value IE equal to V out by RL plus VA by R2, right? See, look at this VA by R2. I mean, no need to worry about this R1. Okay, right? It is actually it is a biasing resistor only. Since the inverting terminal is connected to R2, right? So this is VA. The node voltage at this point is VA over R2 and equal to which is V out by RL. Right now, so let it be like this. Now you know that virtual grounding property. Okay, so what is your VA value? It is actually, see, the reference voltage here, it is given it as a 4 volt, right? So VA equal to 4 volt. Now your IE equal to, your IC equal to, actually the IC value is given it as a 200 milliamps plus VA is actually 4 over 10K. Right, it is given V out by RL value is actually here it is given, it is clearly given, which is a right, drawing actually 20 milliamps, right. Now your IC equal to 200 milliamps in plus 0.4 milliamps. Okay, 4 divided by 10k, right? So now IC equal to 200.4 milliamps. IC, we found IC value, right? Because we need to find out what the power dissipation VCE into IC. Okay, right. And next, what is the current through RL? Now current through RL is IL equal to V out by RL, right? So V out by RL is 200 milliamps. So which is VCE max is V in minus V naught. So this is VCE. Your VCE is actually V in minus V naught. V in minus V naught is actually 24 minus 10, which is around 14 volts. So the power is actually VCE into IC, which is 2.8056 watts. 2.8056 watts, which is your option C. Clear? It is clear for you. So first we need to find out what is the power dissipation. So in a power dissipation, actually your Q1 is equal to VCE into IC max. Okay, your R2 equal to 10k. IE is equal to V out over RL plus VA by R2. Okay, so they had given, right? They had given actually what load RL is drawing 20 milliamps. RL equal to 20 milliamps. So the maximum power dissipation is actually you need to find out. Okay. So Q1 is equal to VCE into IC max and R2 is actually 10k, right? So your virtual ground property is IE equal to IC equal to which is 200 milliamps plus 4 over 10k. So we'll find IC. Then we need to find out VCE. So how will you find out VCE? Collector is connected where input voltage. Emitter is connected to where output voltage. So 24 minus 10, which is 14 volt. So 14 volt into 200.4 milliamps, which is 2.8056 watts. So option C. Okay. Now we'll go to the next problem. So shall we move on to the next problem? Next, gain. We will talk about gain. Now, you just look at the circuit given. What will be the AV and beta for the circuit? This is the question asked in ISRO 2020, this year only, right? So, what is the gain and beta for the circuit? They had given gain equal to 1 and beta equal to 1. Gain equal to 1 over RE and beta equal to RE. And gain equal to minus RE and beta equal to minus 1 by RE. And AV equal to minus 1 by RE and beta equal to minus RE. And I always insisted you to observe the circuit first. You just go for the option, then you go for the calculation. Okay. See, this is, first let me observe the circuit properly. What kind of a circuit it is? All of you please check what kind of a circuit it is. What kind of a circuit it is? It is a common collector circuit. Look at this where we have taken the output. This is a common collector circuit. It's a simple circuit. I don't have anything here. I don't have anything here. I have only this RE alone. Okay. That is what they had given beta. This is only a feedback resistor RE. Feedback resistor RE. Okay. Right. Now, you tell me this is actually a common collector circuit. And we all know this. What is a common collector circuit? Please, participant, mute the phone. Okay, this is a common collector circuit. So, common collector circuit is, what is the significance of a common collector circuit? It is a unity gain amplifier, right? Unity gain amplifier, that is output follows the input. So, it is a unity gain amplifier. Now, from this itself, I got it as what? Unity gain amplifier AV equal to 1, right? What about your beta? What is beta? What is your feedback? 1 over gain, right? It is actually 1 over gain. So when it is 1 over gain, your beta is equal to what? It is also 1. So this is my option A. Understand? Clear? Right? See, you can check, very well check. See, here they had given AV equal to 1 by RE. Reciprocal of that here RE. AV equal to minus RE. Reciprocal of this is minus 1 over RE. AV is minus 1 by RE, reciprocal of it. Okay, so beta is actually reciprocal of gain. Okay, right. Now, if you observe the circuit, it is a common collector circuit. So, since it is a common collector circuit actually, we always find common collector as it's a unity gain amplifier. Unity gain amplifier means output follows the input. So, from that we can conclude AV equal to 1, right? And your beta is equal to reciprocal of this, which is equal to 1. Now, let me go for the calculation. See, here my V naught, actually I have redrawn the circuit with RE. V naught equal to 1 plus HFE IB into RE. Okay, V naught. See, 1 plus HFE IB into RE. That is, both your IE, actually what is this here? Your IE is equal to IB plus IC. Okay, so if I write that, you actually will get IB plus your HFE. See, V naught is actually, first you write IE equal to IB plus IC. IC is what? HFE IB and IB. So 1 plus HFE IB, okay, into RE. And VA is what? I have HAE and 1 plus HFE RE into IB. Okay, right. So what is the voltage gain? V naught by V input. So V naught by V input, if I substitute, you will get HIE is actually very much less value when compared to 1 plus HFE into RE. Therefore, I'll get AV equal to 1. Okay, so the output voltage taken across the emitter is given as feedback. As I told you that this is a feedback resistor. So beta equal to VI by V naught, reciprocal of gain, which is equal to 1. Okay, AV equal to 1. So beta equal to 1. So if you are keen in the circuit observation, if you observe the circuit, if you are very keen in the circuit observation, no need to go for all these calculations and all. Okay, see, actually the circuit itself indicates it's a common collector amplifier. So when for a common collector amplifier, see, you cascade n number of circuit, it will act as only a buffer, right? So it will give whatever may be the input it is taking, it will give the same output. That is, your output follows the input. Okay, so here gain value is going to be 1. It's a unity gain amplifier. It's a buffer and it's a unity gain amplifier. Clear? So your AV equal to 1 and beta equal to 1. So it's a easy. This and all actually, it is actually 0.5 mark question, half mark question it is. Right? Okay. So we'll go to the next problem. Right. Now I'm going to take the differential amplifier. Now in the circuit given, find the AV, which is V naught over Vn. That is gain. Okay. If beta is large, they're telling it is beta is large. So what will be the gain? Whether it is 120 minus 126 and 0.06. Okay, so this is the given circuit. Now you need to observe the circuit. Here you don't have the resistor, right? So instead of RE, we have IE, which is 3 milliamps, right? And it is actually 2K, RC value equal to 2K, right? Now we'll go to the calculation. Since they have asked in terms of values, we'll go for the calculation, right? So what is your IDC? IDC equal to I is equal to V by R. IDC equal to, IDC equal to 3 milliamps by 2, right? So this is actually 3 milliamps. Two resistances are, two emitters are connected, okay, right? So 3 milliamps over 2, okay, clear? Right. So which is equal to 1.5 milliamps. What is your GM? For a differential amplifier circuit, you need to always remember your GM value only. Okay. So GM is equal to IDC over your VT. VT value is, we know that it is a 25 millivolt, and here it is 1.5 milliamps. Okay. Now your voltage gain is what? Minus GM into RC, right? Minus GM into RC if we use a BJT. In case of your, if I am using a FET, actually it is minus GM into RD. Okay, the gain is minus GM into RD, and one more term is your RL over, that is the RL over RD combination, that you should remember. Okay, so the gain is actually minus GM into RC for a common emitter. For a FET amplifier, it is actually minus GM into RD. In case if we don't have a drain resistance and all, we can directly write minus GM into RD. Okay, so the voltage gain is actually, which is equal to minus 120. Clear? Right? This is GM value we have got, and RC value, if I substitute, I'll get a 120. So the option is actually minus 120. Right? 1.5 over 25 into that 2K, right? So your voltage gain is actually around, you will get a minus 120, right? So the option is actually here B. Clear? Okay. Next. Next, we'll go to the power supply. Similar kind of a circuit here. The output voltage of the regulated power supply shown in the figure, it is given. So they are asking what is the output voltage. Similar kind of a circuit we have seen in the previous one. I think you can able to answer here. Out Option is 3 volt, 6 volt, 9 volt, and 12 volt. Now you observe the circuit carefully, right? Base is connected to the output of an op amp, and collector is connected here, and emitter is connected to the output always. Okay, right? Now what will be the value, right? Now what kind of an amplifier op amp it is and all, you have to see here. Throw the actually it is a Zener diode. It should be a Zener diode, not a PN diode. PN diode will never act as a regulator, so it is a Zener diode. Alright, so Zener diode, actually VZ value equal to 3 volt, right? Here it is 3 volt. Obviously, what is the value at this inverting terminal? Here also it is a 3 volt only. Here also it is 3 volt, right? This 3 volt is connected to what? Connected here. See, actually we have two resistor, so we can go for a voltage divider option. Okay, here see, through the Zener, non-inverting terminal is value is actually 3 volt. So obviously for inverting also it is 3 volt only, right? So here it is connected to the emitter. So here this voltage actually it will divide in two resistances, right? So we'll see that actually here 3 volt and 40 kilo ohm, 20 kilo ohm, right? Now we'll see. Now, if we see the figure, we find that the voltage at non-inverting terminal is 3 volt by the Zener diode, and voltage at inverting terminal will be 3 volt. Thus, V naught can get by applying voltage division rule, right? So you need to find out V naught. I know one value which is 3 volt. So 20 divided by 20 plus 40 into V naught. So V naught equal to actually what? Here it is a 9 volt. Actually 20 plus 40 into V naught, which is equal to here the 3 volt. I forgotten to write, I'm sorry. So 3 volt, so V naught equal to 9 volt. Okay, 20 by 60 you will get, right? So V naught equal to 9 volt. Clear? Right. 20 by 60 equal to 3 volt. Sorry, I have forgotten to write 3 volt here, right? So 6 threes are 18 divided by 2, which is V naught equal to 2. V naught equal to 9 volt. So the option is actually C, which is 9 volt, right? Okay. Now we'll go to the next problem. Actually, I thought to cover more questions on oscillator, but anyway, my colleagues will cover in using op amp oscillators, right? So now I have taken a question from Bark, which is a ring oscillator question. The given below ring oscillator has a propagation delay of each inverter is 120 picoseconds. So 120 into 10 power minus 12 seconds. what will be the fundamental frequency of oscillator output? 0.83 gigahertz, 1 gigahertz, 0.2 gigahertz, zero point 0.5 gigahertz. So what will be the fundamental frequency? What they had given? They had given the propagation delay. So what is the frequency? Frequency is actually inverse of your time. Okay, so it is inversely proportional to time. So here the delay value is given it as a 120 picosecond. But what they had given, it is given as a ring oscillator. And here actually how many inverters are given? Five inverters are given. So how will you calculate the delay? Actually, for each and every inverter, it is a 120 picosecond, right? What is the question asked? Question asked is actually frequency. So in turn, what is frequency? It is inversely proportional to time. Okay, that is delay here. So here it is given for each and every inverter, it is a 120 picosecond. Now we'll see the calculation, right? With n inverters, where n must be odd. That is the concept of ring oscillator, right? So it will oscillate with a period of 2n tp. N is actually number of inverters, 2n into tp, and the frequency is 1 over 2n into tp. Okay, right? So tp is the propagation delay of each inverter. What is n? N equal to 5. So TP is what? 120 picosecond. So what will be the fundamental frequency? 1 over, that is 2n TP, which is equal to 0.83 gigahertz. So the answer is option A, 0.83 gigahertz. Clear? Right? Okay. Now we'll go to the next. I'll go to the MOSFET amplifier, right? In the figure shown below, the value of I in will be, they're asking what is the value of I in, okay, right? 2 milliamps, zero point 0.5 milliamps, 15 milliamps, 2.185 milliamps. In the figure shown below, the value of I in will be 2 milliamps, zero point 0.5 milliamps, 15 milliamps, 2.185 milliamps. Okay, right. So now you just observe the circuit. Okay, width over length ratio is given for each and every device. For the first device, it is W by L N is equal to 2, and for the second one, it is 1, and for the third one, it is 2. Okay, right. Now you first observe the first device. It is your drain and gate is shorted. It means it is saturated, right? It is in the saturation region. So when it is in the saturation region, it is in the completely on state. When it is in the completely on state, now the device will act as a short circuit. Okay, so from this point to this point, it is short circuit. So short circuit means this 1 milliamps will flow here, right? So the current, now the current flowing through device 2 is actually 1 milliamps. Okay, now the device 3 and device 2 are connected back to back, right? So what will be your I in? What will be the I in value? Hmm? Right, so that is the drain current of the third device they are asking. What will be the I in value? Now we'll see that. See, since current through mass 2 is 1 milliamps, as I told you that current through mass is actually 1 milliamps. How will get a 1 milliamps? As I told you, the first one is the drain and gate is shorted. So it means it is in the saturation region. When it is in the saturation region, the device is completely on. When the device is completely on, right, it will act as a short circuit. When it acts as a short circuit, right, so 1 milliamp current will flow here. Now the drain current of my second device is going to be what? Second device is going to be 1 milliamps, right? Now, okay. So ID2 over ID3 is, the ratios will be, right, W by L of 2 and W by L of 3, which is equal to 1 by 2. Okay. Now, what is your ID2? ID2 is actually 1 milliamps over ID3. Okay, right? See, what is your ID3 is 2, right? ID2 is 1. Okay, since it is the device is in the saturation region, no need for this W by L, because anyway it is going to be short circuited, right? So Actually, ID2 over ID3 is actually it is 1 by 2. So 1 milliamps by ID3, which is equal to 1 by 2. So what is your ID3? Now you look at your ID3. ID3 is actually I in, right? ID3 is your I in only. So ID3 is I in, which is equal to 2 milliamps. So it is option A. Clear? So it is a two-step equation. That's all. It's a two-step, right? Actually, the answer, I mean, the mark for this question, you know how much it is? Actually, it is only 3 marks, actually, 3 marks, right? Okay. So, see how simple it is. All the thing is you need to observe the circuit carefully. And next, we'll see the question, right? In the figure shown below, I reference equal to 10 milliamps. Then the value of I3 is dash milliamps. Okay, 75, 100, 50, 25. Okay, now you observe the circuit here. When you observe the circuit, obviously, see I reference, I2 and I3. Okay, right? It means what? First one, these two are connected back to back, and third is also connected to the first one. This is a current mirror circuit. See all the terminals and all your drain, you just see. So I reference and I2 and I3, right? It is a current mirror circuit. Clear? Like it is a current mirror circuit. Now we'll go to the calculation. Actually, it is very easy. For a current mirror is very easy. You need to find all the ratios. That's it, right? Now see, actually it is clearly seen the given circuit is a current mirror circuit. Okay, your I2 is what? Your I2 is I reference of, right? Actually your W by L ratio of second device to the first device. Okay, your I3 is what? I3 is W by L ratio of a third and second one. Okay, what is your I3? I3 is connected to where? It is connected to the first one. W by L ratio of the third one to the first one with the I reference. Okay, right. So what is the I reference value they had given? 10. Okay, I reference value they had given it as a 10. So what is the W by L ratio of your MOSFET? It is actually 5. And W by L ratio of the first MOS device is what? It is 2. So 10 into 5 by 2, which is equal to 25 milliamps. So that's it. It is very simple. So it is option D. Clear? Uh, it is clear for you. This is circuit given as a current mirror circuit. So first you take the neighbor circuit. So I2, that is the reflection of this. So I2 is I reference into W by L2 by W by L1. I3 is actually I2 into W by L3 of W by, because all currents are equally flowing in the current mirror circuits. So I3 equal to I reference of W by L3 of W by L1, which is equal to 25 milliamps. Clear? Right? So that is what you need to equate all the currents with the reference current. Okay, always you need to. Only thing is the width and length ratio is getting changed. That is what the change in current also occurs here in the I3, which is equal to 25 milliamps because of this width over length ratio. Because of width over length ratio, we are actually getting this 25 milliamps. If width and length ratio are all same, the same current will flow. Sometimes they'll ask a question like that. I have seen in one question paper, width and length ratio of all your devices are equal. When that is equal, your current is also equal, right? So here it is option D, right? And next I'll go to the next circuit, NMOS circuit, right? In NMOS inverter, resistive load circuit shown here. Okay, right. See, what is the output they are asking? Input is low and transistor T1 is on. Okay, input is low and output is high. Vin is low, transistor T1 conducts. RL is high and logic 0 is high. Now you need to find the answer. This is also the question asked in ISRO 2020. Okay. Now you look at the circuit carefully. In NMOS inverter, they had given it as an inverter. See, I told you that this is actually what? Enhancement type MOSFET, which is NMOS, because the channel is broken here, so it is an enhancement type, right? Now this is NMOS inverter, right? Now, inverter resistive load circuit shown here. First, we will go for the option. Input is low and transistor T1 is on. Right? Whether this option is correct? No, because for an NMOS transistor to be switched on, your input should be high. The statement itself is wrong. Input is low and transistor T1 is on. Right? So this statement is wrong. When input is low, T1 is on. No, when input is low, T1 will not turn on. Okay? Right. Okay. Next, Vin is low. Transistor T1 conducts. See, actually both A and option C are same only. Just they made it as the contradictory statement. See, input is low, Vin is low. Both are same. Transistor T1 on, transistor T1 conducts, right? Actually, transistor, because the transistor will conduct when VGS is greater than or equal to right value VTH, right? Now input is low, that is what they are telling for this transistor, this statement and this term. One is in the triode and the another one is in the saturation region. But anyway, input is low, in Vn is low, transistor T1 is on. Transistor T1 conducts means it is in the saturation, on means it will go into the triode region, right? So these two statements are actually false. Okay. Now RL is high. When RL is high and logic 0 is high. Okay. So this statement is also false. Now I have to go only for the option B. Input is low and output is high. When the input is low, right, it will not turn on, right? The transistor will not turn on. So output is high. So see, instead of PMOS here, just they have connected a RL here. So obviously, when this is not turned on, obviously output is high. So I can go for the option B. Input is low. See, if I go for the first one, input is low and if it is turn on, what will happen? Whatever may the output will go to the ground level. Okay, so first of all, when input is low, T1 will never on. So option A and option C are both are ruled out. RL is high. When load resistance is very high, what will happen? There's no current. Okay, and logic 0 is high. That is also ruled out. Now let me go to the input is low and output is high. When input is low, what will happen? Input is low, the transistor will not turn on. So actually here you will get the maximum value of output VDD. Understand? Right. Now we'll see the answer. In the NMOS inverter resistive load circuit, when input is low, then transistor T1 is off. Right? Which lead to high output. That is, which lead to high output means here this output, whatever may be 5 volt or whatever it is. Right? So when Vin is high, the transistor T1 conducts, which results in low output. Finally, when RL is low, logic 0 lead to slow switching. So it is actually option D. Right? So I think I came to the end of the session. I hope you understand. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. Right? Um, if you have any doubts, you can ask me, and I'll share my PPT also in the web link. Arun?